So, I have lost my mic, my little pink one, my little handheld pink mic, and now making a sort of commentary video without that mic. I do feel a little bit naked. I feel like some part of me is missing. However, girlies, the show must go on. The show shall not be stopped. Mainly because I don't actually have time to refilm this, to order and refilm this. So, the show will go on, sans pink mic. Let's all take a moment. Okay, cool. I am a chronically online individual. I should go to therapy about this. I should talk to my therapist about it, but I haven't. Instead, I'm coming to you, the online, to talk about it. Yeah, it's a problem. My screen time is a little bit disgusting. I have fundamentally learned to accept it. I'm trying to cut back. However, as a chronically online individual, for the past, I don't know, few weeks, it's been completely impossible to stay away from the whole, Taylor Swift, Matty Healy drama. I do want you to know that everything I have learned about these people over the past couple of weeks has been completely against my will. I'm being held hostage. And I'm going to talk to you about it. I don't know how to preface this without, without opening the floodgates for the Swifties to come at me. I think the best way to preface it is that I'm not a Swiftie. I don't like the 1975. I have no skin in this metaphorical game. I just have thoughts. I just have thoughts and vibes. Do you know what I mean? That's all I am. I'm a thoughts and vibes kind of girl. You don't have to listen to my thoughts. You really don't. But I just have a few of them that I'm going to give to you guys. This is mostly a video where I recommend books. This is a booktube channel to its core. And therefore, the social commentary is going to be minimal. But the books are going to be good. So, if you want to skip straight ahead to the books, you don't care about any of the commentary bits about it, then skip ahead. If you don't know and want to know, apparently Taylor Swift is dating Matty Healy. Actually, I take that back. According to page 6, as of recently, they've broken up. But Taylor Swift was dating Matty Healy, Matty Healy being the frontman of the 1975, very popular kind of British indie band. I don't really know any song they've made besides that. Oh, it smells like chocolate. Oh, and then I think I used one in an audio for a video I did on TikTok because it was trending. That's as much as I know about 1975 in terms of music. I do, however, know that Matt Healy has tended to be problematic at best, and at worst a racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, misogynist. So take your pick, really. And basically all of this has kind of come to a head on the internet because everybody's Miss Americana, the golden girl, the feminist to save all feminists, Taylor Swift, is dating Matty Healy, or was dating Matty Healy, and the Swifties were not happy because, I don't know, it's apparently a bad look if your boyfriend is at best problematic and at worst a racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, misogynist. Apparently. Anyway, that's all been going on. There's been lots of criticisms, thoughts, people kind of putting their 2 cents in, and I'm not really here to make a comment about that. A lot of my thoughts on this entire situation are more structural, systemic, and mainly jumping off of the Rolling Stones article that I saw. So I think it was last week that Rolling Stones published an article written by a white woman. It was a commentary opinion piece, which was basically just a long defense of Taylor Swift and her choice to date Matty Healy. There was a lot of it, but I guess it can kind of be summarized by the article's tagline, which was, publicity stunt or not, Taylor Swift can have a sleazeball summer if she wishes. The article kind of basically highlighted that, yes, Matty Healy is problematic, but that isn't Taylor Swift's responsibility, that T-Swizzle is not responsible for the men she dates or the men in her life. And I will be the first to say that I don't think that women are responsible for educating the men in their lives about anything, really. The idea that women should try and change the ignorance of the men in their life is, as Audre Lorde says, an old and primary tool of oppressors to keep them oppressed and occupied with the master's concerns. However, it is important to understand that while you are not responsible for changing or educating your boyfriend, your shitty boyfriend and his shitty views, that you are responsible for what you do with that knowledge. I have for years been surrounded by white women who say, yeah, okay, he thinks that way, but I don't. Yeah, okay, some of his views just aren't great, but I'm still an ally. or any kind of variety of that sentence. And these are the same people that will be the first to bring their boyfriends into safe spaces, into gay clubs, into pro-black spaces, to all these kinds of events, essentially making them hostile spaces for marginalized groups. I wholeheartedly, hand on heart, think if you can date a racist man, that makes you racist. You can tussle with yourselves if you disagree with that. I think it's 3 years post Black Square Summer, and I think people's availability, people's receptibility to keep doing the work is now truly being tested. You know, it's no longer trendy and it's no longer Instagrammable. So when it comes down to it, can you be a true ally? And that includes doing the hard parts of allyship. I think for a lot of people like me, what this situation exemplified was a white feminism. White feminism has always been the standard of feminism, and we have to work to change that completely. In Bell Hooks' book, Feminism is for Everybody, Passionate Politics, more to come on that later, Hooks wrote, "We knew that there could be no real sisterhood between white women and women of colour if white women were not able to divest of white supremacy." Hooks was stressing an important point about the role that white women play in upholding white supremacist systems and structures. White women continue to uphold and protect systems that oppressed, racialized and minoritized people. No matter how many calls for solidarity are encouraged within feminist spaces, those who benefit most from their access and privilege must be willing to disassociate from these very same systems that grant them access and privilege. And yes, that does include dumping your shitty boyfriend. I promise you, he is not the love of your life. He is literally a white supremacist. Hit him with your car. Flavia Dotson has a wonderful article entitled "My Feminism Will Be Intersectional or It Will Be Bullshit." It was published in 2011, and I personally think it is as seminal as ever. It builds on the work of Kimberly Crenshaw on intersectionality, and obviously Kimberly Crenshaw stands on other giants. But in the spirit of the article, that my feminism will be intersectional or it will be bullshit, I thought I would give you guys some of my favourite feminist books, some of my favourite books written by feminists, to make your feminism a little bit more intersectional. This is going to be a one-take wonder. Watch this happen. Okay, so the first book that I have to recommend is Care Work, Dreaming Disability Justice by Leah Lakshmi Piepzna Samarasnia. I butchered that, and it should be a macroaggression what I've just done to that name. But disabled people are constantly left out and overlooked in mainstream conversations about feminism, despite the fact that they face sexism and misogyny differently. In Care Work, writer and disability activist Leah lays out the self-love and community care done by disabled queer people and people of colour, ensuring that no one is left behind. The next book is It's Not About the Burka, edited by Mariam Khan. So often in the mainstream media, Muslim women are spoken for rather than given platforms to speak for themselves. But writer Mariam Khan is challenging that and changing that in her collection, It's Not About the Burka, which brings together essays from 17 Muslim women on faith, the hijab, feminism, queer identity, sex, and more. This will give you a good grounding on the current climate of Islamophobia in Britain, as well as the varied and unique experiences that come at the intersection or with the intersection of Muslim identity and gender. The next is Your Silence Will Not Protect You by Audre Lorde. This is a posthumous collection of essays, poems and speeches by the Black lesbian thinker, united in one collection for the first time. This is one of my favourite books of all time. One of the most powerful lines in this work reads that Black feminism is not white feminism in blackface. This serves perfectly to articulate the praxis of intersectionality, a permanent reminder that it's more than tokenism and must go beyond acting as a buzzword. The next is a book that I've already mentioned, which is Feminism is for Everyone and Passion Politics by Bell Hooks. Hooks explains in accessible terms exactly what feminism is, what lies at the heart of it, and why the movement must continue today. What's more is that she doesn't scrape over issues that should be the concern of all feminists, including sexual violence, racism, and homophobia. If you're wanting a comprehensive, in-depth whistle-stop tour through intersectional feminism, I think this is a really good start. The next one is Living a Feminist Life by Sarah Ahmed. This is more of an academic text, so if you're looking for something a bit more dense, this is it. It's an academic text that delves into how feminists call attention to problems, therefore transforming the world in ways both uncomfortable and necessary. Ahmed grounds her assertion with the premise that happiness often means conforming to problematic patriarchal societal norms. To be feminist, then, is to be a killjoy, someone willing to speak up against sexism, racism, ableism, transphobia, etc., even if it means detracting from people's joy. The next one is Revolting, Prostitutes, The Fight for Sex Workers' Rights by Juno Mack and Molly Smith. In this, they create an incisive, brilliant manifesto for why we need to decriminalise sex work. From the beginning of the book, they make their agenda clear: to advocate for sex workers' rights, not to glorify sex work as some empowering deed or to describe it as a horrific act that people should strive to ban. Rather, in practical, intelligent terms, they describe how our current capitalist system has made sex work an unfortunate necessity for some of the most marginalised in our society, and what we can do to improve these sex workers' conditions. The approach is Marxist, internationalist, and systemic. There's nothing of memoir here, and Mack and Smith reject both sex-positive and carceral feminism as arguing for or against sex work in individualized symbolic terms in such a way that erases most sex workers' material needs and lived experiences. The next one is a very popular one that's really been doing the rounds over the past few years, and it is Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. I think this almost acts as a contemporary successor to Women, Race and Class by Angela Davis. And in this, Kendall articulates how the current iteration of corporate-friendly feminism has narrowed rather than expanded its scope, privileging a narrow white slice of womanhood over a truly inclusive movement. Kendall basically talks about the myth of trickle-down feminism, represented by the thriving girl boss as the symbol of progress, through the lived experiences of women and non-binary folks struggling for survival. The next one is a short one, and it is I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shraya. Shraya is a heartbreaking, hilarious, and massively talented writer, and in this very slight memoir, she lays out how toxic masculinity harms all genders, drawing on her experience as a trans woman. Shraya has not been hardened by her trauma. Her triumph is softness, vulnerability, and love. This book is a beautiful work about gender, race, and sexuality that is also accessible and incredibly moving. This is obviously just a hint, a taste, a sprinkle of the wonderful breadth of feminist literature out there that challenges women to go beyond white feminism. The truth is, white feminism will not save us. It is not the answer, and unfortunately, it means that you have to do the work. You have to read and you have to confront a lot of uncomfortable truths. And one of those uncomfortable truths is that dating a racist makes you a racist. If you can put up with racism, homophobia, sexism, whatever it is, then you're not a safe space for people. And that maybe is an uncomfortable truth for people to hear, but it's one that everybody should take into account. That if your boyfriend's a shitty person, you probably are a shitty person too.